All right, let's call this meeting to order and roll call, please.
Oh, my God, I'm sorry I'm not awake, everybody.
Here.
Okay.
I guess I should have
Sean
asked you
Dwyer?
first.
Here. Bob Corvus,
Here.
I'm sorry. Lou Adamser.
Here.
Dee Monroe. Here. Kay Mikely here. All present.
So absent, we have Ralph Kendall, and we still have an opening. Okay. First order of business.
Approval of minutes.
And do we have our minutes available from the last meeting? I know that.
We really, I sent them. See, my computer's not working, I'm sorry.
No, you sent them, I remember.
I thought I sent them.
Yeah.
On
We
May
didn't,
19th.
we didn't meet in May, right?
Yeah,
Right.
we held off the
All right,
meeting.
so I
Right.
have April's, if anybody
Okay.
wants to look at them. Isn't that the meeting?
Oh, these are the agenda.
Oh, that's the agenda,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Let's try.
I have the regular,
Yeah, we can defer this, the approval of the minutes to the next meeting then. So maybe make a note, next meeting we'll approve the prior minutes and the minutes from today.
No, this is actually the notes from the, it's not the agenda, it's actually the notes from the meeting.
yeah, I have them right here, too.
Because here's the agenda.
Because we had, the website is
that right?
ongoing. I'll read them to you, so, the budget was $600 and it was approved. There's a forum in October, we discussed that briefly. We will wait for a date so we can confirm speakers and space. We have had some responses from the questionnaires. One of them was, why does the well water smell? Does it affect quality? SSA, well, no new direction. Miscellaneous, St. Al's hooking up to city water. Infrastructure goes to school, they only need a hookup. And then the question was brought up if we should change meeting times. And it said, we'll discuss it at the next meeting. June 23rd is the block party. And the next meeting, we will collect data and analyze. Peter will help put together, which he has done. And Sean will take care of electronic portion of spreadsheet. We will analyze date. Then we will decide what we're going to do with the information. And our next meeting was May 19th, which we canceled, and the meeting was adjourned at 8:55. And those are the notes.
Okay.
Would you like to approve them?
I move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Audience comments? Oh, gosh, you're the only one who gets up this early, I think. Any old business?
Block party, I suppose we should.
Yeah, the block
talk
party,
about.
which is next week.
Week from today at, what, 2? I think it runs 2 to 7 or something?
2 to
like
10,
that?
wasn't it?
10, I think.
2 to 10:30,
Whoa.
or 2 to 10, yeah. I'm pretty sure.
But I think last year we were there, what, 2 to maybe 7 or something like that?
That sounds
We didn't
about
stay the whole
right.
time. It looks like there's a little bit of a conflict in terms of getting there at 2 o'clock. I can't get there till 3.
I can't
You
get
can't
there.
get there till 4 at the earliest. You're not gonna be around.
Yeah, I'm
right?
gone Thursday to Sunday for work.
So.
I
don't-
can't, I don't, I looked at my schedule, I was planning on getting there later in the day myself.
Well, do we have anything to hand out or anything like that? I mean, maybe, even though we made a commitment, I don't think it's the end of the world if I were to call Christina from the Park District and tell her that we decided not to. I mean, just be a little space there. I'm sure people would close in on it, unless we feel that there's some reason we should be there, whether maybe it's not till 3 o'clock, but.
Well, that's a good thing, yes.
I'll be there with the Natural Resource Commission for getting there at 1 o'clock to set up. They And you're usually right next to us. I can start setting up your table if you like until you can come and manage. It's not a big deal.
Well, that's the question. I mean, are we just gonna sit there, be there to answer questions, I suppose, right? I mean, that would really be all. We don't have any handouts that I can think of.
No, I think you're right there. I don't think we have anything really.
We've got some things left over, maybe some pamphlets, maybe even more.
Some coloring books and things like that,
Coloring
right?
books and stuff.
I'm sorry?
Coloring books and.
Coloring books, well, water for dummies, the little handout,
We could have this.
I was just gonna say,
to
what if-
discuss it.
Yeah, I mean,
People ask.
you know, we have a
Results.
few things, but it's not, yeah, I mean, it's not, yeah, I mean, I would take her up on her offer and at least have this stuff set up and then figure out a schedule for somebody to get there during the event. I mean, I can't, unfortunately, I don't remember what time frame I'm available. I think it
Well, I can
was-
be there at 3,
You can be there at 3?
yeah.
Because I think my time frame might be somewhere around 4:30 or 5 till about 6:30 or 7, somewhere in there.
Well, if you can come at 5, that
Yeah.
would be good. Would that be too much of an imposition on what you got going that day?
No, five would work.
So I can go 3 to 5, 5 to 7, I think
And you bridge the middle?
that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think I can get
Kay,
there.
are you planning on stopping by?
I'm looking.
I mean, does it make sense to have some of the output of this?
Yeah. Heather.
Maybe jumping the gun, I don't know if
Yeah,
we're
we
gonna
really
post this on the website either, but
I think we probably want to go through it a little bit first, maybe before we just throw out the raw data up there. I don't know, that's my opinion. There may
I
be-
did plan to stop. I very definitely did.
What time were you looking at?
I hadn't planned anything in particular. So, do we want somebody early? You think there'd be anybody around?
What,
It's 2 to 10.
do you go to that?
Yeah, I have to work it, we sell beer tickets.
Oh, that's right, okay. And how many boxes of material do you think we have? A couple?
I'll show you guys after the meeting.
Okay,
You
and we'll make
can-
arrangements to
yeah,
get
and
that
if we
over
need to
there
make-
somehow.
If we need to make more, we can decide then.
Okay, let's do that.
What about the tent,
Where did we get
the
one last?
cover?
Susan Stricker was
Oh,
part of the
that's right, that's
SSA.
right. Yeah,
I don't have a tent.
I don't either.
Well,
When the resource committee sets up, do they have, I'm trying to remember, you were next to us? Did you have like a separate tent or something, or?
Actually, I thought we had 2, because we had 2 tables and 2 tents.
Yeah, you had a pretty large space there, and then we had a
Don't
one
forget you-
table.
You had your banner to put on the table to identify yourself.
Yeah.
And we had just a little, not really a tent, just a little canopy.
Yeah, canopy,
Keep
yeah.
the sun off.
Yeah,
I
that's-
don't know where we got that, though.
Sandy
Oh, that's right,
Stricker.
you just said that, Sandy.
well, I wouldn't be able to set all that up by myself, guys. Come on.
No,
Yeah, that'd be,
I was just wondering.
yeah, you don't want to, if it's a day like today, or even just a sunny day, that's a tough spot to sit in without some sort of cover.
yeah. So what are we thinking?
I mean, I could reach out to Sandy, and she, have her contact info. That's no guarantee she gets it to us, but
City doesn't have anything like that, do they?
Tents, no.
No.
In fact, I was looking for tents last Saturday. Only the police department has one. So that's used by the police volunteers. It's about police volunteers.
Where would you get something like that? Sporting goods store?
Usually those tents you can get for like $100, 10 by 10. So, if you wanted to have like water committee on there or something, that would cost you more, but.
We could, is that something we could use our budget for, to buy something like that? I would think so, right?
I mean, yeah, I think something that probably would fit into there. I mean, if you're going to these events like the block party or the pancake breakfast, this
Community
happened, if
days.
you go to those events and promote the committee's mission, then yeah, that would be considered promotional material.
And we should buy one.
yeah. Just go to Dick's.
The problem is, being a week away, I don't think we would be able to get one. I mean, I won't have time to rent out, even buy one.
No,
And
I
have
mean, we
to
could-
purchase through the city, so we don't pay tax.
What,
So,
And you can't get
it would have to be-
reimbursed.
It would have to be ordered and shipped.
Okay, as far as time frame, I mean, if 3 or 4 days from now we decide we can't do this, it's not a big deal.
I don't think so. And I don't think Christina at
No.
Park District would have an issue with that.
No, I don't think so
You
either.
know, there's a space available for you if you have the people to do it. You know, I'm gonna be there, but I'm preoccupied.
Yeah, well, no, we wouldn't expect you to.
So, no, so I'm just saying, so everyone's, you know, people have things to do during the summer. So, I mean, if you don't have someone that can man your area.
But just as a courtesy, I'd just like to let her know as soon as possible if we're not going to attend, that's all. I don't think,
Yeah.
I don't think it's the end of the
I would
world.
do it sooner rather than later. I mean, I would really get together and discuss the people that may have the ability to go, or that have their schedule free, and decide if you are going to be able to go or not.
Mhm. I think that's.
May I make a comment? At Community Days this year, our table was set up with a tent already, and I think it was supplied, I don't know if it was supplied by the police department or the city, but we didn't have to put our tent up because it was there already. It came with the setup. Marcia Gentris is the one that organized Community Days, if you wanted to reach out to her and see if you could borrow one of those
But
tents.
she's a police volunteer, so.
She is, oh, was she?
So they may have rented those. What I would do, if you're concerned about the tent, this is primarily handled logistically by Park District. Reach out to Christina. I mean, if you want, I can ask her, but, I mean, if you want to reach out, because you're going to be speaking directly with her, and say, hey, listen, you know, we need to know, because if Kay was able to be there at 2 o'clock, Kay's not going to set up a table.
No,
Right.
No, we expect Kay to do
I mean,
it.
it'd be difficult for me to do probably by myself. So if that's all gonna be set up already, then somebody may be able to stop by at 2 o'clock from 2 to 3 or whatever, if everything's already set up. So let's find out from Christina and then go from there.
Typically, when do they set everything up, like 10 in the morning, 11 o'clock or something, or you don't know?
They're coming at
Well,
1.
setup starts at 1.
Right, but,
But they'll start
Oh,
the
this-
night before, actually blocking the
I've seen
street
it blocked
off.
off before, but I don't know when they start putting up tents.
well, you know what, that's probably, you know, if you're gonna talk to Christina, find out when they're gonna set up.
Okay.
And what they need to set up, if they, you know, I mean, did they put the table up last year, or we did?
No, the table was there and the chairs were there when we got there. We just put the canopy up and put the banner on the table and brought our coloring books and.
And the banner
brochure.
and the coloring books and those materials, you
That's
have
all.
the coloring
That's
books.
all in the box.
That's all, Peter has all that.
So really, it's just a matter of
Shade, right?
the
Shade.
shade.
That's the issue,
Yeah.
yeah.
And if we're not coming until later on in the afternoon,
No, it actually gets worse.
Yeah, that's prime time,
Oh.
probably.
Yeah, at 5, 6 o'clock with that
The
sun.
sun's setting
Oh,
west,
oh,
and last
oh,
time we
oh,
were
oh.
sitting on the east side of the
You
walkway.
gotta keep moving, if you remember, we kept moving further back in the tent to stay in the shade.
You fell into the pool.
All right, so check,
Yeah,
you know, and then we can figure it out, if we, you know, how the timing can work.
Keep me apprised so I can know, because I will be there.
Okay.
thank you,
Okay.
Jill.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Because somebody's gonna have to put the banner on,
Yeah.
you know. I
Somebody's
mean-
gonna have to, if, maybe have to put up the canopy, have to bring in all the boxes of things. I don't think there's more
See,
than 2 or 3.
if they set, let's say they put the stuff up maybe around 12 or 12:30, and then, like, but before I have to go, where I need to go, because I think I have to be somewhere at 2 o'clock, I would, you know, be willing to go there and just set it up, I just couldn't stay.
Mhm.
So we'll figure out the time.
You said you start at 1?
Yeah.
We'll be there at 1 to
Okay.
start the setup.
Okay.
Or if everything was in a box, and we put the box there, and then putting up the banner would just,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably more of a matter of having somebody there than it is the difficulty of actually setting it up.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to see the Prospect Heights Water Committee table with nobody
Right.
present. It's going to be just
Right.
like everything else, you know?
Yes.
Okay. So then you'll let me know what's going
I
on
will.
there, and then we can let Peter know.
Yeah, I'll talk to her Monday morning first thing.
Okay.
Then you'll have to let us all know. Lou.
Because the big thing is just the canopy, everything else seems like,
Yeah.
because the tables, their table and chairs and,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all that was there for you, right, when you got there last, the table and chairs? And then you had to set everything else up, right? I think it's folded up against sitting up against the building or something. We pulled it out and pulled the legs out and stood it
Okay.
up, that's all.
well, then we'll coordinate whether or not we're going to do that.
Okay.
Monday, you let me know.
Okay, I will.
Don't forget the neon lights, you know, so people know they can gravitate to your table.
The flashing, it's
The
got to
flashing.
flash.
The disco ball, yeah, who's got that?
Get your water here.
Okay. Any other old business? We were, okay.
Okay, and then, well, the survey. The new business is the survey results.
Okay. We have we haven't looked at the survey results. We just got those results this week, which we have a copy of here. And briefly speaking, we had 419 responses this year compared to 2.5 years ago. And which is a little disappointing considering it went out to 6,600 households versus roughly 1/3 as many households last time, and Peter figured it's around 2,400. Last time we had around 836, I believe, responses. So a dramatically reduced number, I think 7% response versus almost 33% response.
And we sent it to more, and we sent it in multiple platforms, mail and
Sure.
digital.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, the platform, last time we also did a digital version
We
two
did.
and a half years ago.
Oh, we did.
By email or.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if we had a program.
It was online.
It was
It was
online, yeah,
online.
I thought so.
Okay.
Exactly the same we did.
Oh, okay.
Well, you can make an assumption that either we did a very good job with the forums and the people that we had speaking, that there wasn't as much confusion about being on a well.
Or shouldn't have been.
They were able to, people were able to understand the system a little bit better. So, I mean, on a positive note, I understand that there's not as many results that had come back, or not as many residents had participated, but perhaps the reason is that they're comfortable in what they have now,
Well,
because they're a little bit more educated about what they have now.
last time it was sent just to private well owners, correct?
Right.
And do you remember, I don't have it handy here, but do you remember approximately what the percentage of no versus yes on bringing in water was?
I'm fairly confident it was 55% no, and then the 45% was split between yes and maybe, and I think it was something like 30-some% yes, 20% maybe.
That's great recollection, because I was going to say, I thought it was around 54%, and then it was
Yeah.
roughly 35, and the remainder undetermined, which came out to a pretty close split.
And what are we here, percentage-wise?
Well, I don't know. if-
Looks like about the same, right?
120 yes, 181 no,
But then if-
48 not sure.
Right, if you add the 48 to the 120, now you're at 168. I don't know if that's all, it's not all yes, I know, but it's actually a little bit more no then, right?
Right, but,
It's more than 55%.
well, but we also have people that aren't on, that are already on, like
Yeah.
Michigan Water, so there's 73 responses in this 419 that aren't probably, I don't know, but
Well,
they
no,
probably
these are
wouldn't
just
have.
private well owners, right?
No,
No.
this is people who are on well and people who already have water. It's the complete city.
Well, I
we
was just
agree.
going to this
Oh.
here. I was looking at this.
Oh,
Would you be interested in
oh, oh, oh.
establishing Lake Michigan
I'm
water?
sorry, you're right.
181 to 120, so it's just people who are on wells.
Correct,
that are
correct, correct.
Responding to, would you be interested in Lake Michigan water?
Correct, so we just take that pool of people, right?
Yeah, so it's actually probably, well, you got.
249 people,
Yeah,
sorry,
forget about the
349.
48.
349,
Forget about the 48, you're talking
Right,
about what?
correct.
About 300?
yeah.
And 181,
So, like,
so that's quite a,
181 divided by 349, so
60, 70%.
51% said no. 120 divided by 349. 34, about 34 said yes, 48 unknown, so 75.
Not much
25,
different than
it's
last time,
pretty,
is
It's
pretty, it's
yeah.
pretty dead on,
Yeah, because
actually.
if you take the top number, which is 343, asking if you ever tested your well,
Sure,
and assume that's the number of people, and then you take 181 divided by 343, you come in at around 54%.
yep.
So it's pretty much the same as, nothing's really changed in terms of.
Just half the, much smaller response rate, but similar feeling out there.
And I was thinking about it this morning, compared to in the past, I think the systems have gotten, like everything else, have gotten, I don't want to say better, but more elaborate.
You're talking about testing systems? or well
Oh,
systems?
I'm sorry, I'm
Wells?
talking about the well
Filtration.
systems,
Oh, yeah.
the filtration
Yeah,
systems.
the technology
that-
has allowed a well even as, that maybe 20 years ago was really bad to maybe not be so bad now because of what the technology of people coming in doing filters and reverse osmosis and all.
And all the other stuff that comes
So
along with
that
it.
may come into play, or I'm sure it does.
And
People are now it's not so bad having a
Well,
well.
that was my thinking as to the reason why so many people didn't respond.
They're just happy with their wells.
They've gotten used to it, or things have improved, or,
Mhm.
I don't know what else. I mean, unless apathy set in further.
Well,
Or the fact that we've maybe done a better job of educating people. I don't know.
That's true, too.
well, if you look at the forum, look what happened there in 2 years. Went from, 60 people with the 2 days, or maybe, 2 weeks notice, to 10 people. So, it could be apathy, it could be people are more educated, more informed. We've answered their questions, they don't need to come anymore. I think there's probably a combination of that going on in there, but this seems to fit the same trend as the forum.
Mm-hmm.
Before we had a lot of people respond, now we don't. Before we had a lot of people show up at the forum, then we didn't. So they're kind of both doing the same thing.
I find it interesting that the topics that people would like to hear about is more about, so to my understanding, the folks that are on the wells are pretty okay with it. They seem to be doing a good job in providing their families with good water. They don't have a problem with, the equipment wearing out and all those other things. I think it's a trade-off. Perhaps it's a trade-off, I don't know. But the speakers, it appears that they want more information, like, okay, if I'm going to go into, I'm okay with my well right now, but if I'm going to go into this city water thing, I want to know more about it. I really want to get my head wrapped around what it's going to take.
It seems like if you look at it, it seems like it's all money-driven.
Yeah.
Because what do people want to see? They want to know, they want to see an explanation of previous and current costs. They want the city treasurer to explain how to obtain financial assistance, how we could lower the cost of buying water. Everything is cost, cost, cost. So I'm thinking this is probably what's driving the no's.
Definitely.
Sure, because everything else is a known. They know what it takes to keep
Right.
their well maintained. They know what it takes to provide good drinking water for their family. They know these things. They know the cost. They don't, it's the unknown.
Although what's interesting on that is if you look, would you be interested in establishing Lake Michigan water? No. If no, why? The top response is because well water is free. So I don't know if people really know the cost of it though. Again,
You're right.
so we
That's
think
the-
they do because there's no monthly bill.
Because they've been lucky enough that their wells lasted 10 years with no maintenance costs.
So it's just that's the top 149, that's the top response by far.
Now, the people who just had to replace their $20,000 well are gonna have a different response on it.
Right, right.
It's really
And it
expensive
might
to
be
have-
other, I just replaced it for $20,000, right?
Yeah.
But that's, so
Well,
that's,
see, I don't think we've read all the comments yet.
right, agreed.
Right.
Agreed.
Because a lot of, I started to read through some of the comments, and I haven't had time to do it, which is part of what we need to do, why I wanted to get duplicate copies, so everybody can look at them, because it's kind of hard. So, like on a lot of the other answers, if you look on here, a lot of people wrote comments in there.
Yes.
And, some of the comments talked about the water is so hard, and, it ruins my appliances and stuff like that. And then you've got other people that, they've had very good luck with their systems.
Right.
So we need to digest some of the comments too.
Yeah, and I remember, when I was documenting the online submissions with the comments, I mean, I couldn't say that there was a theme off, it was all over the place. The comments were all over the place, from I'm out of here if we raise taxes to my water's hard, I want, just, it was all over. And I'm glad we did that. It allowed them to voice opinions, which that's what this is about.
Well, you learn a little more rather than the yes and no.
Correct. Yep.
And
This gives hard data, and then we can take a look at that, but it'd be hard to document themes on that, because I think there were so many, right? If we were to put them in different categories of the comments, it'd be difficult.
well, the thing we have learned over the number of years we've been doing this now is that the water's very inconsistent within the city.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you relate that to the things that were talked about in the forum, they say the same thing. You can go area to area, and it depends where you're going to get your water, part of the aquifer and so forth. And that becomes an issue. So as a community, the people that are having difficulty with their water, it's not fair to them.
Right.
But then on the other hand, you've got the people who are quite satisfied, and again, that just comes down to human nature. What's going on for me, I'm not too concerned about my
Right.
neighbor.
I used to live out in the country someplace, and my well was really bad. Now I move in here, and my well's not so really bad as it used to be. So, you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
could be as simple as that.
Yeah.
It could
For
be,
sure.
It's better here than I'm used to, even though for the person who's moving out of Chicago coming here is going, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's all your point of view.
But, and then I think on the other side of that, with people that said, yes, I want like Michigan Water, if yes, why? The highest by far was the whole damages, discolors, property, wears things out. I just, as a data point, as a comment, it was interesting to see that the biggest reason people didn't want Lake Michigan Water was because it's free. And then the reason they would want is because it's just ruining things in my house, which I guess might be obvious statements, I suppose, but it's just good to see the data come through from the community,
It's not a health concern.
I think
Yeah.
there might be a
It's
stigma
a
behind having a well, too.
material. Pardon me?
I think there might be a stigma behind having a well, too. Somebody says, where do you live, Prospect Heights? You have wells, right? I never moved there. Don't even know what the quality of the water is, don't know anything about it, never had a well, just well.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Don't want a well.
Well, I think it's maybe some of the kids, from going on family vacations and going into
Yeah,
the
right.
woods and
Yeah.
pumping that,
That's right.
and having egg water come out, But, I mean, when a city kid thinks of wells, that's what they
Sure.
think of is
Yeah, or,
those
But fire safety wasn't really that big of a concern. I mean, 48, where you had the discoloration at 113 reasons why they would want to get off well. So, we're talking about adding, bringing in the fire safety or the fire department in to talk. It doesn't seem to be a concern,
well,
which is
remember,
interesting,
I
right?
talked to the fire department, and they said that they were able to, because of the equipment they have.
That's true.
They were able to do almost as well without hydrants as they would with them. I mean, if you remember, there was a rating system in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were good.
And everybody was two, like Mount Prospect, Arlington Heights, and, the lower number, the better. And they were at 4, which is fantastic for
still
not
good.
having for not
We
having
have an
a public
elite
water
crew
system.
here.
Yes, and they have specified, or specialized equipment too, so it helps them. So I can see how that I do think there's a stigma behind it, though. I think people just think, well, like I said, they may have never had one. Some of the wells are high quality wells, I mean, but just, don't want a well.
And, 82 respondents have never tested right? Have you ever tested? 82 have never tested, which is surprising.
Well, that means those are the people who don't want, who said my water's great, right?
Right,
Drink
but it's
bottled
still,
water and don't bother.
Huh?
that's true too,
A
yeah.
lot of families just live with it, they drink bottled water,
Yeah.
and they use to water
Yeah.
the garden, to
Yeah.
wash the clothes, and that's it.
Right.
I do that.
Yeah.
That's a good point, too. I mean, after the fact, you think of a few extra questions you would have liked to have thrown in there. And the one Kay brought up was one that occurred to me is, how many people purchase drinking water?
I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking that's pretty high,
Oh, yes.
very high, for drinking and cooking
And those bottles are heavy, and people still carry them. That's a factor. They are heavy. You see people who can't even lift them.
you're talking about the gallons or the cases?
Even
Oh, the
the-
5-gallon,
Oh,
Hinkley
yeah, oh, yeah, oh,
Schmitz.
yeah.
And
the big
even the
ones.
cases. I mean, you
Yeah,
lift
yeah.
one of those.
Oh, I
and
know.
put-
But I think also the trend most recently
That's true.
in everywhere. I mean, you see cell phones and bottled
Bottled
water,
water, you're right.
you know?
That's true.
And not necessarily the bottled water, but the containers that they go out and buy so that they could put their ice in it, so that they could
Right.
put in
So they can-
water.
they can
So,
drink it on
I
the
mean,
go and it
it's,
doesn't
it's a,
spill.
it's a trend,
I
it's a
have
thing.
both those sitting
Look
in
at
front of me.
you.
Like this?
There we go, here's an example. right?
There we go.
Want me to water?
You know, so whether you live in Prospect Heights on a well, or whether you live in Chicago without a well, everybody's walking around with their mobile phones and bottled water.
Yeah, and I think the thing with this survey, even the last survey, you almost want to see, gravitation towards one or the other just to get a better sense of the community, but it is somewhat split, leaning towards keep the well. It's never going to be perfect, right? But to grab data points as talking points or for the purpose of our committee, on where our focus should be or how we support the community, which is the goal, that's why this is here, right?
The two points, which we kind of touched on, for people who want water, question or answer C, it's too hard, this colors. There's 113, which is roughly 40% of the 343 answers about people who have tested their well, assuming that 340 is the number of people who had wells on the survey from these other numbers, that falls in line with the people that want water. So that tells you that we have certain areas around here that the water is not so great.
Oh, so can we put on the agenda or on a workshop that we find out what those areas are? Maybe take those, I know that's a big undertaking, but let's start
You wanna
figuring
map it.
out where, with the comments and.
How difficult is that? I mean, we have names and addresses and answers
We did it last time.
Well, with the spreadsheet, with the Excel.
Right.
You can line it up based on a certain column. So you can take the 113 people with difficulty, put them together, and right away you've got their address list.
And then how hard is that? Can you press a button and
And
go,
then you can map them too.
or you have to manually,
Our,
we have someone to do that?
Yeah, our engineering firm
I-
does that. I would determine as a committee, you definitely want to do yes or no's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we did last time.
Yep,
Just to see if there's pockets of anybody that wants water. or
agreed,
whatever.
yeah.
And then I would, these aren't, we have to pay for these stuff, so just be considerate of that. And then just pick like what you think is the most, besides the yes or no, what's like the most vital information that you want to do. And the quality of water, I think, is an excellent one. And the best candidate looks like it's going to be that it's it's that C answer. But figure, decide which one you think, and then what we can do is we can map those out, those particular addresses on the map to see if maybe it's a cluster. Maybe if there's a segment,
That would be nice.
the northeast side or whatever. the
Or a certain
southwest
street
side.
or a certain block.
That of our well community that is negative, is the most negatively impacted.
Yeah, this is part of what we're gonna have to do through the workshop, because right now what we're doing is just kind of glossing over things,
But
but
that's,
you're right.
that's behind the scenes,
Oh, absolutely.
right, so then we could take that and then analyze it, right? Yeah,
What you would need to do is just determine what factors on the survey that you want to research further.
I think we can do
And
that
then we can
today.
pinpoint that on the map.
Yeah.
You know, before we move on from there, unless, what were we?
I was gonna say, is there, would it be any benefit for us to take these raw numbers and turn them into percentages? Would that make it easier for us to, at a glance, look at this and, you know, other than doing the math in your head, to have a percentage, say, you know, 40% of the respondents said this and 23%.
Well, that's something
said
I
this.
think we can discuss in the workshop. What I'm getting at here is, you know, for today, I think we just set up a time where maybe we have a workshop that's convenient for all of us. It may not be a regular meeting.
After our next meeting?
Our next meeting is July, like, what, 16, 18? somewhere?
21st, right?
21st, July
Did
21st.
I see that? Yeah, of which I won't be able to attend.
Um,
I'm a busy girl.
Well, I mean, what were you thinking, having the workshop at the next meeting?
That's what, well, I thought
Or
it would be
prior to the
convenient.
next meeting?
After.
After the next meeting,
Yeah,
then have a
that-
workshop?
Yeah, that's
So-
what we've done in the past. I thought that would be.
Like the same morning,
convenient,
Saturday
right.
morning, but.
Yeah, we have a quick meeting.
Oh,
here.
I get, okay.
We have a
okay.
quick meeting, we're out here at, the formal meeting is over at 8:20, and then we go into a workshop for an hour or two. That's what we've done in the past, so that's what I was suggesting.
Okay,
And then
well,
we're out of here by 10 or 11.
okay, well,
But you said you can't make it, Dee?
I can't either.
All right, so
July
literally-
16th, July 21st. Kim?
21st.
I
mean,
can't
that-
either.
We could have the meeting, we don't have to have it on the 21st, because we have it the
No,
week
we,
before.
yeah, we'll have to pick out some,
14th?
well, we can always make a special meeting date, right? Yeah, so how about we do?
Well, we have
that?
to make a special meeting.
Yeah.
date,
Yeah,
because
so-
We won't even have a quorum for the regular
Right,
meeting.
Right.
so let's figure out some dates.
Maybe in August? What do you guys think, August? Give us a little bit of time to pull this together so that when we walk into the workshop or the meeting, we've got info. We can always reach out to each other, either, you know, through Bob or virtual.
August, I'm actually open any one of the,
My-
any
my-
Saturday.
My next open Saturday is August 18th. Sorry,
Perfect.
it's
Well,
crazy, but
we could
I
do
would
that.
want to be there, but if that's an
Let's-
issue, pushing it to the 18th.
I don't think so.
Oh, I don't either.
Are you
Then
available on the,
instead-
everyone else
instead-
available on the 18th?
Instead of having our meeting in July, we'll have it in August,
Yeah,
and we can make it August 18th.
yeah.
Which
that
would be
sounds
our
great.
regular
That's
meeting for
okay.
August anyways.
That's the third Saturday?
Yeah.
Yeah, so perfect. And then I guess the question would be, what do we want to have done by then, if anything?
So I think for sure, I think at least for today, we can definitely agree on data points to run mapping on, so that in between now and August, we can get that data to look at, and we can each individually analyze it, that's for sure. So I think mapping of what areas said yes, and what property said, right, what property said yes and no, that's for sure. Peter, would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, those are some of the things that we'd have to come up with. So let me just look at this time frame. Looking at the questionnaire, people say September, October is their preference. And then there's half the people say they have no preference. But the two largest segments of people that did say a specific month picked October or September.
Right.
October
If-
would be easier than September,
Yeah.
unless we're gonna pay for it, then it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, well, I think,
We
you know,
talked about
October, I think October would probably make, because you got 172 and the highest answer was October. So if we're shooting for a form, we're gonna do a form, chances are we're gonna wanna do it in October.
Okay.
We're gonna wanna have everything kind of figured out by our August meeting, I would think, right? Now, just as a possibility between now and August, maybe we can find some time where all of us can make it and go through these things before the August meeting, rather than try to accomplish things in August and then have to come back and review what we've discussed in the workshop in September or whatever.
I think from now until August is a long time to sit on this, so
Yeah.
I agree with that. But it can't, at least for me, it can't be a Saturday morning.
So maybe, you know, we can look at some dates between now and, you know, August, maybe even in the next couple of weeks, where we can get together during the week rather than try to do a Saturday.
I'm open to that.
I'm open to that also.
What time of day is the earliest typically that you're available if we did it during the week? Like,
Is this space available during the week, certain days?
During, like, at night,
Yeah.
it all depends. I mean, we have other meetings that are here, so we just have to know what.
well, I'm
Can
thinking,
we
let's
take
say
this
if we,
off-site?
let's say,
Why not?
huh?
Can we take our meeting
You could
off-site?
sit in a restaurant. and
Are we
talk.
allowed to do
No, because that's,
No, it isn't.
no, that's illegal.
Yeah,
Depends on how many, if only two of you are meeting, you can meet anywhere you want.
yeah.
So are we two people at one table?
Speakerphone?
But three or more would be considered a meeting.
Yeah, that's the
It would be
quorum
considered
problem.
a violation of the Open Meetings Act, so.
Yeah. So we, you know, we've been doing it for a year and a half plus. Not a big deal for us to all meet together. I mean, it's just a matter of where and when.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
When's gonna
I mean,
dictate where, I suppose.
it-
But if we're all
it's-
meeting, it doesn't have to
I
be
mean,
here and recorded?
Could we meet, let's say, at 5 o'clock during the week?
If you are all meeting, we have to post.
Oh, okay, that's why I'm asking what your timeframes are.
We can post it, but we don't have to meet here, and it doesn't have to be recorded, or it just has to be published?
Recording is, that's.
The public would have
that's
to be
not a
able to attend
requirement.
it.
It just has to be known.
It'd have to be a public area, you'd have to post it here, you'd have to post it at the location, so if you're talking about meeting at a Starbucks,
Right.
that's a little difficult, because how do you post
I think we
your
just
agenda at a Starbucks?
We need to do it here. I think that's the simplest
We
thing.
had, Patrick and I, the Natural Resource Commission, that just had their meeting at the.
Well, the library, that's a good point,
Just had a
too.
picnic day.
Like the library would be okay, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's-
Or Park District.
You just take
Yeah,
care of
yeah,
it.
we're
Right,
in the
right.
back of the
So
park district.
the location, I think, is not gonna be the issue. It's a matter of picking a time where we can go through these results, have conversations, read the comments, and just kind of work through it.
Mhm.
It's not gonna be, you know, I mean, that's what the workshop essentially is.
We would still need 4 people in order to meet, correct?
To meet,
Yes.
correct,
Okay.
yeah.
So if we have to have 4 people, because it would still, quorum still comes into play there.
Four is a quorum, 50 plus one, 50% plus one, and you only have 5, technically there's 7 on the committee. And then half of that quorum is needed, 50 again plus 1 of that quorum is needed for a voting block, that's why it's 3. So if 3 of you meet, it's a meeting.
But I don't think we're really gonna be voting on anything. It's a
No, I don't
matter
think
of.
so.
No, I understand.
Right,
but
yeah,
some
right, no,
policies-
we still have to follow the formality, but it's not like we're gonna, like if we had 3 or 4 people out of 5 that made it, so we can digest some of this stuff.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Can
Yep.
we even, can we meet if there's only 3 of us? We can't, right?
No,
Okay,
not unless it's public. The limit is 2.
right. Okay.
So we
can
can meet
set
3, but we
4,
just have
that's
to
why
make
I
it
was-
public and post the agenda.
3 or more is public, under 3 is not. Of course, it's only 2.
I'm gonna start talking to our-
I thought it was 4 or
Why
more.
don't you figure out what day that,
Yeah, yeah.
that you guys can meet or want to meet? Chances are, there's a very good chance that this facility will be open, be available. So-
What's the earliest anyone can meet on a weekday?
Well, Dee just said
6:30.
6:30.
6:30?
For me.
Yeah.
Want to try a 7?
Sure.
I would say later the better for me, yeah, 7.
Can you, is 7 something you can probably make? Do you have a, I don't know who has the most restrictions? I'm really open, so I mean, I can meet pretty much anytime.
All right, well,
7 not on a Wednesday would work for me.
7 is good, but I have a lot of other meetings I go to for our complex and everything.
So what do you have, what days in the next 2 weeks?
what
do you
is
have?
typical? Did you go on Tuesdays as your meetings, Thursdays?
Try Monday and Wednesday. Tuesday is usually a good day for me to come for
Okay.
a meeting. Tuesdays are usually
I
good.
would be leaning toward, at this moment, generally Tuesdays are better for me as well.
All right, yeah, Tuesday's good.
Let's jump on Tuesday then.
And let's see, so we've got the 19th and the 26th.
The 19th, I'll be out of town.
Okay, 26th.
I know I have late. And I know we're not gonna meet the 3rd. What about the 10th, July 10th, after the 4th?
I can't do it in the first 2 weeks of July, I can tell you that.
All righty.
Well, maybe what we do is we just put down the dates that were available, send them all to you, Bob, and then figure out.
What's July 17th look like?
I'm out of
Not
town.
good for me. All of
Well,
July,
I mean, this
actually,
is-
it's not so
Who
good for me.
can't make the 26th?
Oh,
Well, the 26th, unfortunately, from 6 to 7 is the McDonald Creek Commission in this room. Now, you
Yeah, but we don't have to be in this room. We
Yeah.
can go to the library, we can go to Marava Center. You know, I'm not
Or
worried
the
about the venue.
conference room over there.
I'm not worried about the venue, I just wanna be legal, and I wanna be someplace where we can have a conversation, look through this stuff and talk about it.
What about July 24th?
Sunday?
Oh, that's a Sunday?
Oh, sorry.
July 24th
Nope, no,
is
no, 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 I'm
Tuesday.
sorry, I'm sorry.
That's a Tuesday.
Anybody have a conflict with July 24th?
Off the top of my head, I don't have one.
Well-
I
Not on my
don't have
personal
my
calendar.
stuff on my phone, so I can't be sure.
Okay.
Well, tentative.
Tentatively, we got the 24th of July. And
I
then-
have to know at least, well, I like to do it 2 weeks in advance, but at least a week in advance because it has to be posted.
And then we've got the 31st as an alternate date?
I'm not in town.
You're out of town?
24th?
Well, the
Uh,
24th would be, well, it would be after the regular meeting we would have had that we're canceling.
Right. So now we're 3 weeks away from the regular meeting.
Yeah.
Well.
But I
we got
still
the
think that's,
7th,
it's
too.
still, I think it's still
It's
important to
still-
digest this before that August meeting.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
What's this, Tuesday, August 7th? How does that look as an alternate day?
Open for me.
I'm just trying to put it,
Open for me.
a block of dates that are.
Yeah,
available.
24th of-
We're down to 2 right now, unless we want to go past the 7th, and then we're almost to the meeting date.
I think write those down and then double check.
August 8th, did you say?
7th.
7th? I'm sorry, 7th?
24th and the 7th,
July 24th, August 7th.
right? Aren't those the
Those
2
were the
days?
2 dates you threw out.
So let's double check calendars and send a confirm out?
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
24th or the 7th.
All right.
Now, that's for Tuesday, which Kay knows Tuesday is good for her. These, that sound,
That's good to me, yeah.
What-
And we're going for 7 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Tentatively.
we just have to,
as an alternative, any issues with the Thursday?
are those dates available, Peter?
But it doesn't matter because
We're
we
talking
don't have to
about
move here.
July 24th, right?
24th and August 7th.
July 24th, McDonald Creek is here from 6 to 7.
Okay.
So we
They
would
may
go,
over,
What's
so
this-
you probably are talking about-
Yeah, we don't have to meet
What's
here,
the
that's the
7th?
thing. First, let's get a date, and then we can figure out a
So,
venue.
yeah, you can, it's just availability of the park district or the library, whatever you want to have it for the 24th. And then you said the 3rd,
7th.
7th. 7th.
We should be good. We're fine here.
Well, I'm just trying to simplify things instead of going off and adding more people involved. We could sit right here and say we're doing it on the 7th, and that's pretty much it, right? We don't have to wait and see if Morava's open on the 7th or the 24th, or the library is. We know right now, we schedule the 7th at 7 o'clock, and that's it, we're done.
But I need to check what.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just need to triple check
I
too.
don't have my stuff. on
Okay,
my
well, let's,
file.
tentatively, let's talk about that, and then if you can't make it, then.
Well, that's
we'll
what
have
I'm
to
gonna
come
do.
up with
We're
another date.
accumulating dates so that we can get an email
Yeah.
out and then come to consensus.
So just 2 dates then, right?
Yep, Tuesday, 24th.
July
August
24th
7th.
and August 7th. July 24th would have to be
And
at the
8/7.
library or Park District, and August 7th could be at Town Hall. Correct?
Then we don't wanna try a Thursday as an alternative, like earlier, like in June, in the next 2 weeks.
Well, we went through every we just went through Tuesdays, right? Okay.
Yeah, we only went through Tuesdays. So then we can, if Thursday's open, we can confirm which Thursday
Yeah.
but in June, let's say, because I would really like to go through this as soon as we can.
Okay.
And then have an option of maybe having a second meeting if needed, because we don't,
All right, we got.
Don't have a 7-hour meeting.
Available Either Thursday. in-
28th is the only Thursday in June, so next
Not
week does not work
available.
for me. 28th doesn't work for you, Kay.
So Kay
No,
said
not at
either, she said either Thursday, right? You said, or no? You said no?
Neither Thursday.
Oh, neither Thursday.
Look at
I
my
thought you said either Thursday.
How about July, okay? 5th, 12th, 19th, 26th?
Well, as long as we're going there, we'll just leave the Tuesdays, because I was
Right.
hoping to do something in June, so let's just leave it with these 2 dates, confirm that,
Okay.
follow up, and pick a date.
Okay.
Well, we might still be able to do something earlier than July 24th. I mean, if Kay can make a Thursday. If you said you wanted to do it as early as.
But I
possible.
can't do it the first 2 weeks in
Oh,
July
okay,
anyway, so
so now
that's
we're back.
the whole
Okay.
week, the 2 weeks there are gone,
Okay.
so.
All right, so let's just send a confirm email that 24th and 7th works, and we can pick one of the days,
Yeah.
based
Yeah,
off that.
7th, we can do here if we want to.
Yeah.
And the 24th, we'll have to go someplace else.
Yeah, it could be a library. I'm guessing
Yeah.
the library got to have some room, a small, they got a couple of rooms there.
Yeah. So we got the library or Maraba or something.
So from,
Or even
ne-
the, well, the Park District over in Rob Roy, that's not like a public facility, right? The one that's on the corner of Camp McDonald, isn't that?
No, that's private.
That's River Trails Park District headquarters.
That's,
Oh, okay, so that has nothing to do with,
I believe it. It used to be. I think it still is.
I think it still is, because, we don't.
we have plenty of rooms in the library.
Yeah, we'll figure out a place.
So, from now until then, I do think it would be healthy to have some mapping. I think, and then having the mapping at that first meeting. I don't know if are you on board with that, Bob?
the mapping?
Mapping the yes and no answers to, like, the green and red heat map, to have that going into that meeting. We can do that from now until then.
Yeah.
I think, do you guys agree we should map the yes and
Anything
no?
visual would
Well,
be helpful. yeah.
what do you want to map?
I guess
the-
that's the
the-
Do you
question.
want to map
the-
the hardness areas? You want-
I think so that's the question. So I think he said it costs money to do it, so be conscious of it.
Yeah.
Mapping who said yes to city and who said no to city is
As
a
a
for
start.
sure map.
Yeah.
That's the only mapping we did last time, and that's healthy to
Maybe
do.
we should start off there, and then we can discuss if we want to go further based on the results of the,
I'm okay with that.
overall map.
I think at a minimum, we should have at least one mapping from now until then, and we can digest
and
that
certainly have enough time to do it.
for sure, yeah. And then we at least have that as well to discuss at this workshop.
Do you understand that, Peter?
And I should have it done within a month.
Right.
I don't really enforce it.
Right.
That's plenty of time, right?
I would actually, with the results you have, unfortunately, it is a small sample size. I would do one more, I would do 2 maps.
Right, right.
I would do the yes, no map, of course, and then I really think you may get information from it, you may not, we'll have to wait and see, but I would do like the water hardness, discoloration one.
The reason people want to, don't want their well?
For your own, knowledge, if there's a pocket of people that responded from this that have bad water.
Yeah, okay.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's
they-
for sure.
They may all correlate.
That's what we're looking for, right? And then we can assist that area potentially, right?
Yeah, okay.
Well, this is something to focus on.
Right. So definitely map, we want to map, yes, they'd be interested in, well, no, and maybes, or not sures, just like last time, right, everyone?
Yeah.
And then map by letter C, the 113 letter C, it's too hard, discolors damages.
Right.
Yeah.
Do we think that's a good starting point?
Yeah.
And we'll have enough time by the time we meet on the 24th or 7th.
Have it in a month.
Well,
Perfect.
the other reasons are taste, which I don't know if that's not important. Water pressure, I mean, you can take care of that, right? No water, have power outage, I mean, everyone, that's a given. Dig new well costly. Everything else is pretty low, other than, I don't like the taste, everything else is pretty low percentage-wise.
Right.
You can
Versus C.
you can overcome, a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
But the hardness and the difficulty of getting your water,
Yeah,
that,
the rust and everything,
I mean, there's a few people over the years, like, remember Bob,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
With his water, and then the one fella in my community before we got Lake Michigan water, he couldn't even take showers in his own place. I mean, he had drilled many wells and got nothing. I mean, it's terrible water, so, that's an extreme,
Somebody a block away might have perfect water.
Okay.
There's the key in mapping all that
Exactly.
too.
Right.
Might be able to pick up all the pockets.
Yeah,
of
so I think
water.
just those 2 items, C, under hardness, the question there, C, so it'd be mapped, we said, right?
Yeah, if yes, why,
Yeah, so we're
letter
gonna
C.
map-
And then the yes, no
Not sure.
to water or no water system.
So we're mapping yes, no, and then we're mapping.
And the maybe.
Yes.
Well, if you're gonna map the yes, no question, yes, water, no water, and then the not sure, that's what we did last
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, we'll do
Right.
exactly the same.
But then you're gonna take all the yeses and map them as C, the reason being C, right?
Well, then you're just gonna answer anyone who answered C as
Under yes.
another map.
Under yes.
Or we could use another color, right?
I would recommend 2 maps.
Separate, yeah.
On 2
Yeah.
maps?
Yeah, I would-
You can always overlay them, can't
It'd
you?
be simpler that way, because there's gonna be a lot of yeses that happen to be in that 113. So you want one
You're right.
pristine map, yes, no, maybe, and then one map that's just
Okay.
gonna show if there's any clusters of the bad water.
Yep.
And those will all be yeses.
Correct.
Under the original.
Not
Not
necessarily.
necessarily.
Right, not
You know?
necessarily.
I mean,
Because
you
they
may
have options if they
Well,
say
no, because
yes.
it says if yes, why?
And they didn't have to choose C though. They could have chose B or D.
You have 171 people, or, no, I'm sorry, where are we?
120.
120 people.
And out of those 120, you've got 113 who picked C.
Multiple answers, you can
Right.
enter multiple answers. though,
Isn't
too.
that how that works?
Oh, I see what you're saying, I see what you're
113,
saying.
well,
So you're saying 7 people out of the
well, would you be
120?
interested in establishing Lake Michigan water? Yes. If yes, why? So you got 120 people who said yes, and 113 of them.
Okay, so that's a good point. So
113
only
of them-
7 didn't answer that.
Right, 113 of them picked,
Hmm.
well, then how did you end up, I don't know if that's, can be right, because you've got actually more people,
Multiple
you've
answers.
got more people answering yes than you did who said yes to having the water, so I don't know how that works.
But I think,
You know what I mean?
No.
You can't have any more, if you answered yes to would you be interested in establishing Lake Michigan water, you have to answer yes to go on to the next
Right.
thing.
Right?
But if you add up all the yeses under Y, isn't it more than the actual yeses under, are you interested in?
But you could do multiple answers.
Oh,
So one
okay,
person
I see, all right, yes, correct.
So then I have a question then for our analysis, for the workshop, things of that nature. What's the end goal of, what's the goal of that? I know digesting info, seeing themes, but at the end of the day, what would be our big wig, right? Our why behind the workshop by digesting this? What's the outcome?
Well, I think we want to see if there are groups of people that are set up enough that they might consider forming an SSA.
Right, so that's one, right?
I think that's one. We will say that here, here, we've noticed that your whole street wants water.
You're having difficulty with water.
Right.
And it's consistent. Plus, I think.
Well, it's got to be a group too. I mean, if you have somebody
Well,
over, if you have it like that.
Peter, do we all have the map from 2 years ago or no?
I know, I do.
I do somewhere.
I got it on there.
Well, check to see if you have your copy between now and then. And then, Peter, would you be able to replicate that map? You got it somewhere, right?
Yeah, I can email it.
Okay. So we can have the first map where we had 836 respondents, and we'll have the new map.
Compare the
You
clusters.
can kind of see what's going on, and then know whether or not that community needs to be reached out to about getting a water system in that specific area, and then you have to figure out if it makes sense.
Is there
That
anything,
can also become part of our forum this year. We can say, here's what we did for the
right?
community, which
Right.
we've never done. We never used a map, we never put it up, we never projected it, we never had a presentation.
It's a good idea. Really good
And
idea.
then we can also talk about, out of the speaker list, with people's popularity, to put that into the forum and incorporate that. So now we have a focus on something a little more specific about the forum that we've never done. Before, we kind of just said, hey, let's do this, this, and this. Now we can report this entire matter,
I agree.
Use the data for the content.
yeah.
And it's still the people who are pushing it, all we're doing is helping them figure out what they really want to do.
Facilitating.
Yeah. So we're not pushing water. Some of the people through the survey are.
Right.
I want water.
And I was just gonna say then, so SSA formation potential location is a natural on the mapping, right? And then part of this is, all right, let's digest what topics people wanted, so at our forum, who do we need there for sure? On the maintain your well side, D, what could we pull from here? What would be valuable for those folks? I don't know, right, because they're gonna, out of this, is there anything that we could take away from your side?
of course,
Or-
I mean, I'm not saying that everybody that lives on a well that has poor water, that, the water, you'll find a rust stain on your clothes, whether it's from the dishwasher or the washing machine or not. Maybe the washing machine is a little rusty, you find a rust stain on your clothes. I'm not saying that anybody that doesn't have well water is not totally happy, but it may help guide them, saying that you live in an area where it's known to have high iron. you live in an area that's known to be this by our survey. So perhaps these are the things that you can do, because you live in that
Sure.
area, because you're not wanting city water, these are things that you might be able to do in order to improve the quality of your well.
Isn't that-
So point out the reason that you're having these difficulties, and then help to solve it. So to have somebody like some of the speakers that we had in the past included in our speaker forum wouldn't be a bad thing. We can go to the speakers now and say, these are the areas that we're having problems with. How do we help these people?
Well, that's the whole purpose of having our digesting all of this,
Yeah.
is so
Right.
that we can
Perfect.
come up with the agenda, and that's all we're trying to accomplish.
Perfect.
Right.
Sounds good to me.
So we're better focused and more in-depth, on this matter,
And I think we'll be able to collect, people will find, if we've got a purpose, a true purpose, and it's not kind of out there, if people, I think, would want to attend.
Well, I think
Why
our
would
last two
anybody
forums.
with water want to attend? Why, if you already have city water, what in this forum would attract you?
Well, that's the-
Nothing.
Well, Kay, here's the thing. The workshop, you're gonna look at this and contribute what you think would be attractive. That's the whole point. We're gonna see for people who have water.
Water
Looking
rates.
at the answers, roughly 55% of the people are satisfied with the price of their water.
I think that's untrue.
Well, then you need more people to answer the survey.
Yes.
Why didn't people answer it?
Because they saw no purpose for them.
Well, the water cost too much was that was the highest ranked reason why people don't like, they have water, but they don't like it. So water rates would certainly seem to be a.
Well, that's what I'm
topic.
saying. On here, the answer for the water rates, are you satisfied with the cost of your water? I thought the answer, it says here.
No, it said no,
I
right? It
think
cost too
my
much.
water service is worth what I pay for it. 42 said yes, 31 said no.
Out of those 31, 25 said because they think it costs much.
Right. Well, I'm saying
Makes
that's the highest percentage of the four reasons. The water
I don't
costs
dis-
too
I
much.
don't, no, what I was looking at is the raw answer, which is, do you think it's worth what you pay for it? 41 out of 74 said yes.
Right.
That's what I'm looking at. Now, worth what you pay for it, obviously, why isn't it worth it? That's the next set of questions.
Right, that's a subset.
That's the subset. So that's what I'm saying, out of 74 people, or 73 people that did actually answer that question, and there's a lot more than 73 people in Rob Roy that have water, aren't there?
It's all paid under one.
Well, that includes your neighborhood also, right? I mean,
Well, my neighborhood too. So
mean,
that's,
they're
and
in
we
that.
had 162 single-family residences.
Right.
So only 73 people put in,
you're pushing 1,000 residents at least between the two, right? I mean, didn't you say you have six something?
660
But I
homes.
think goes to your point, Kay, that
the
people with
reality-
water don't really
well,
care
if you want to
about
look at
this.
the number, it's more like over 4,000 households have Lake Michigan water.
Yeah.
Because
And we had 70 responses?
we had 73 or whatever the number is here.
That's not much. I
Yeah,
don't know if
that's
that's
not a
enough.
sampling.
But,
That's not-
but that also helps to say that then people with water this is not a subject that really bothers them at all,
Either way.
either way.
Yeah, so if you're getting a response rate of 8% out of 4,000, over 4,000 people, what does that tell
It,
you?
it does back your thoughts of what's the purpose for people to attend. Well, there's no purpose, and that's what they're telling us. There's nothing wrong with that, that's just the data.
So they become not a target audience.
Right.
We've spent the topic of the last two forums has been predominantly well water quality. I don't see a problem with having the next forum be predominantly SSA formation and having well water quality maybe not even be in there at all or very minor because it's been the topic for the last two and the SSA stuff has kind of not really been covered. So maybe this is
You
the
have a
SSA.
point, we did focus more.
Yeah, so now we're gonna have the information to be able to do something with SSA or bringing in, people who wanna bring in city water. Let's take advantage of that and make that the topic of the next forum.
Well, we can, yeah.
Kind of makes sense, yeah.
Like-
But again, we'll work through this.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more you want to converse now, but, if not, then let's defer further conversation
Okay.
for our workshop, and we'll pick a date, either the 24th or the 7th. Who knows, maybe we'll do both, depending on how things go,
Okay?
because I think there's a
They're
lot
2
to
weeks,
discuss.
2 weeks apart.
Yeah, there's a lot to discuss,
Yep.
you know, and we'll find more questions. And if we can really do a good job, we'll be prepared to set up our forum, which we haven't done in the past.
So we would expect to have the survey results on those 2 categories in the next month, you said, maybe?
You know, map.
The map.
Yeah, map.
Yeah, they should, our engineering group
Visual.
will get back to me. I'll do it, send it to them on Monday. It's not gonna take more than a couple of weeks.
And today is what, the 16th?
Yeah, 16.
And our next, first meeting is potentially the 24th, so we would have. it's-
6 weeks. for-
No, well, I'm
for the
talking
map.
about between us getting the information and our potential first meeting.
Maybe a week and a
we'll
half
have
or
We'll
two.
have a week and a half in between.
Yeah. That's all right.
Oh, okay, you mean after we've done this?
Well,
Yeah.
no, after, between the time that Peter produces, gives us the copies of the maps, and our potential first meeting.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, so we would be,
We have a week and a half.
individually, we'd all have
Can
the things
digest
to
it.
look at
Yeah, right,
before we
before
have
we-
the workshop,
Yeah.
and then discuss that. Yeah, right, I got it.
One last quick question, maybe we can't do it. We have 800 responses from 2 years ago. We have these responses now. Is there any type of overlay we could do of that?
Let me see what they can do.
You know, like maybe the colors are different for,
That'd be nice.
for 2016? You know, so ultimately we have 3. We have yes and no for 20,
I'll speak with our engineering group.
Right,
see what-
'cause then we can
see
get-
what they-
Yeah, if not, no
they've done
biggie.
Something similar to that, so, in the past for something else, so.
Okay.
Let's see what options we have.
yeah, just throw it out there.
If, you know, I'll trust their judgment.
Yeah,
They
no, no.
say it can't be done, or
It's
it's
fine.
too convoluted,
It's fine.
but I'll let you know.
Okay.
Oh, that's an awesome idea. I mean, I'm looking at acetates, overlays.
She's still working on an overhead projector.
Yeah, right. So erase tomorrow. Okay, awesome.
It worked.
Okay, anything else today? So then, we're gonna pick the 24th or the 7th, confirm those dates are available. If, you know, maybe we'll reserve both dates. And we can always see if we need both dates, but we'll just confirm that by email and go from there.
Okay,
Are we in agreement?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds
and
great.
I'm talking to the Park District on that, right?
No, What, for the
For
date?
this 24th?
For the block party?
Or, you're gonna check, the first thing is you gotta check.
I
to
gotta,
see
I
if-
gotta check to see
Your
if both dates are
availability.
open. I think
Okay.
they are. Tuesdays are generally the better dates for me to be free.
Okay,
And I feel bad because every year that block party falls on pretty much the same weekend, which is always the same weekend of, I have a work function every weekend in the summer, and I feel terrible. I live on Elm, so it's on Elm. I want to be there, but I just feel, it's literally falls the same time I'm out of town every time, so
And-
apologize,
and
guys.
Lou, when you're referring to the Park District, you're also referring to whether it's Saturday, what's going on Saturday to get back to me.
this Saturday,
Yeah,
correct?
right,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can communicate with me on that. So are we good to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I
Okay, good.